Hey yo, what's good reader fam? Today I am bringing you a laid back, chilled chit chat video, or at least as laid back as I'm capable of being, because you guys know that I kind of take it too far sometimes, or a lot of the times. Let's not talk about that today. I really enjoy making these videos and I really enjoy hearing what you guys have to say about different topics that I bring up. Today I'm going to be going down memory lane as I break down my life as a fanboy. This video is being sponsored by Quirk Books. Thank you so much, Quirk Books. And today's video is inspired by The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. I just recently read this book and I really enjoyed it. If you're looking for a happy-go-lucky book, this is the book for you. This book is set at a fan convention, the place of dreams for fans all around the world, a place where people can come together, unite, and unleash their inner fanboy and fangirl. It's like Animorphs, where instead of morphing into an animal, you morph into a fanboy or a fangirl. Fanmorphs, the new book series coming never. In this book, this franchise called Starfield just recently got a reboot in movie form. Starfield is a sci-fi franchise, and I would say it's in the same vein as Star Trek. I get a little ping of annoyance every time I think about Star Trek, only because people think I look like Spock, and I don't like that. So in this story, we see both the perspective of an actress from the Starfield movie and also a fangirl of Starfield. The actress that we follow is Jessica, and she played the character Princess Amara, but her character was killed off, and Jessica isn't mad about it. She's like,
yes, I can finally get out of this franchise.
Normally, I feel like an actress would be upset because it's like, dang, I'm out of a job now. But Jessica is donezo with being a part of this franchise. She does not want anything to do with it. On the flip side, we have Imogen, the fangirl, who is starting a petition to save the character Princess Amara. Imogen looks exactly like Jessica, to the point that when Jessica accidentally throws away the script to the sequel Starfield movie and it starts getting leaked online, she switches places with Imogen, has Imogen do her fan meets, her panels, while Jessica scrambles off to find the person leaking the script so she can kill them. I'm kidding, she doesn't try to kill them. But whoa, that would have been a wild twist. Can I get an alternate version of this set in the horror genre? If Jessica can't track down this person and stop them from leaking the script, it could be the end of her career. Oh snap! This is a companion to Geekerella. You don't necessarily have to read Geekerella before you read this book, but like, why would you not want to read Geekerella? Geekerella is great. So you might as well read this one, then read this one. Plus, if you read this one before you read this one, then you'll get a lot more of the references made in this book. While this is a retelling of Cinderella, The Princess and the Fangirl is a retelling of The Princess and the Pauper. These books are definitely mood boosters, so if you're looking for a boost in your mood, both of these books are beaming with happiness. If there was a happiness aisle in a bookstore, which honestly every aisle in the bookstore is a happiness aisle because books, but if there was a designated happy book aisle, these books would be there. They'll have you smiling from ear to ear. That's a big smile. These books are also just super relatable as they're full of fandom love. If you yourself are a fanboy or a fangirl, you will find yourselves in these books. I found myself relating to Imogen so much in The Princess and the Fangirl. The only thing that wasn't relatable is the fact that Imogen gets to swap lives with a Hollywood actress who is a part of one of her favorite franchises, and she gets to interact with all of her favorite actors. But other than that, it was relatable. Even though the circumstances in this book are a little wild and you kind of have to suspend your disbelief, it's still a fun and wild ride, and I definitely recommend checking both these books out. So today, inspired by this book, I'm gonna take a look back on my life as a fanboy. I'm gonna dig through all my fanboy history and just share it all with you today. Every time I consume a piece of media that has a heavy fandom presence, my mind is just sent back through time in a surge of nostalgia, thinking back on all the things that I was a diehard fan of growing up. Sure, it makes me cringe a little at some of the things that I used to do as a little fanboy child, but are you really living if you don't have any cringy moments to look back on? I think not. I wasn't really raised on things like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, so my fandoms might seem a little bit random, but I'm still gonna share them with you. It's time to dive in. I suggest getting yourself some coffee to enjoy this video. It could potentially be a long one, and let's get started breaking down 5 fandoms that I was a part of growing up. My first fandom is Jump 5. I was literally obsessed with Jump 5. If you don't know what Jump 5 is, it was a pop group back in the day, back when I was growing up. I had first heard about them at this random music store in my town. They had this promotional setup on a TV and they were playing one of their performances, and I was like, they are the coolest. I looked at them as if they just offered me $1 million or something, when little did I know that I was gonna be the one throwing my coins at them. Thankfully, nowhere near $1 million. Not that I had $1 million at the age of 9. Not that I have $1 million now. I wish. I wanted to be the 6th member despite them being Jump 5, and when they lost a member, I was like, where do I apply to become a member? As if I had any chance of getting into a pop group. I feel like they're the reason why I love pop music so much today. I don't know if that's something I should thank them for or not. I used to play their CDs until they had 1,000,001 scratches on them, to the point where when you put them in the CD player, you had to cross your fingers that it wouldn't skip on certain songs. The obsession was real. They even had me wanting to form my own pop group. I remember being in like 2nd grade and I had this group of friends at church. We used to have to stay late on Wednesday nights because our parents would have choir rehearsal, and I pretty much forced them into being a pop group. We had one night where we rehearsed members to a Jump 5 song, but I was the only one that held on to the pop star dream. The next week, everybody had forgotten about it, but you know who didn't forget about it? Me! Our group could have gone global, but my dreams were crushed. I also used to film myself dancing to their music. I'm sure the tapes still exist. I have no idea where they are, but I want them to remain lost. Nobody needs to see that mess. I don't want to cause any eyeballs to bleed. I also used to have this karaoke machine that both had a CD and a tape player, and you could record things on the tape player, so I used to act like I was a radio DJ, and I hosted a Jump 5 radio show. I would talk about Jump 5, and then I would record the TV as it played their music videos so that I could play their music on my radio show. Those were the days. I really wish that I could find those tapes too, because I can only imagine the commentary I was making at like 10 years old. The grand finale of this whole Jump 5 obsession is the fact that my parents surprised me one year with tickets to see them in Texas. I literally screamed when they told me. Not just like a, yay, thanks mom and dad, like a full-on earthquake-worthy scream. At that time in my life, I did not know if anything would ever top that experience. I was in a state of shock at the concert. I got my CD signed by them. I got to take a picture with them. It was quite literally the best day of my life, at least back then. I've since had better days, but still, it was amazing. Next up, we have Neopets. Back in the day of dial-up internet, I used to play Neopets every chance I got, even though my internet was so slow and I could hardly ever get anything to load. And when things did finally get loaded, it had been like an hour of waiting. I do not miss dial-up internet at all. I would print out pictures of the Neopets. I would print out information as if I was going to research each and every little thing about Neopets, and I'm quite certain that I never referenced any of those things that I printed out. I'm pretty sure I had like 3 accounts because they used to have like a limit of how many pets you could have, and I wanted so many of the pets. I spent hours upon hours trying to get enough Neo points to get paintbrushes to paint my pets. I remember when they were doing a promotion at McDonald's and they had like a code you could get with a toy with the Happy Meal, and I would beg my mom to take me to McDonald's to get a Happy Meal, not for the food, just for the toy so I could get the promotional code. I needed the codes. I needed to get those rare items. I even had the freaking trading card game and never got to play it because none of my friends were really into the Neopets world like I was, so no one wanted to play it with me. I'm still very salty about that. I also had that like Polly Pocket Neopet thing where you could play little pixel games that sucked. Those were the days where you could waste a day playing your life away and not have any regrets about it. That definitely does not apply for the days I'm living in right now. If I play any kind of game, I feel so guilty. I'm like, dang it, I'm wasting my life, which I know games are not a waste. They're great, and I really wish that I could get rid of that regretful feeling I have whenever I do play video games, because it's literally no different than watching a TV show or a movie. The next fandom that I found myself wrapped up in as a child was Spy Kids. I was next level hooked on Spy Kids. I probably saw those movies a couple hundred times growing up because I was just so into it. I think that I thought back then that if I watched them enough that my life would become just like Carmen and Junie's. I'm sad to report that it didn't work and I'm not a spy for the OSS. Or am I? I used to play pretend with my best friend Kathleen on the playground, and we would pretend that we were Carmen and Junie. I had a Spy Kids birthday one year and it was the best. Like, looking back on it, that was one of my favorite birthdays growing up. I had a Spy Kids cake that was so dope, and pretty much every gift I received that year was like Spy Kids or spy related. I had all the movie merchandise, I had my own Ralph, I have all the action figures. In fact, I still have a lot of them somewhere boxed up in storage. They were just something that I could not get rid of because they're so nostalgic, and that just shows how much I loved it. I was obsessed, and it's not something I can like let go of. It was such a big part of my childhood. I still have some of the books from the series that they released after the movies. I remember they even did this promotion with like a frozen pizza company, and you could get a pizza and they came with little cards that you could cut out of the pizza boxes. I would get those, cut out the cards, and save them. What did I do with them? Absolutely nothing. I played the games on my Game Boy Advance, which looking back, honestly, those games weren't that great. They were mediocre at best. They could have made them so epic too, but you know what? I really didn't care back then because it was Spy Kids related, so I was all about it. I probably even said it was my favorite game back then. I also distinctly remember that like in the 3rd or 4th grade, we had to write our own books for a project, and I wrote literal Spy Kids fanfiction. Back then, I had no idea what fanfiction was, but we had to write a story. My teacher approved of me writing about Spy Kids, so that's what I did. I even drew pictures of them throughout it. I really wish that I could track that down so I could read it again and see how awful it was. But it's probably for the best that I have no idea where it is. The next fandom that I was heavily involved in growing up is one that I've talked about a lot on this channel, and that is for the A Series of Unfortunate Events series. I remember I saw one of the kids in my class reading one of the books, and I was completely drawn to it for some reason. I think it was the cover, honestly, because those book covers are dope. This was like in the 3rd or 4th grade. I asked my mom if I could get the first book, and she kind of looked into the book and she was like,
I don't know if you should read this?
So she decided that she was going to test read it, which I don't blame her because the back of the book is literally like, don't read this book. Put it down right now. So I completely understand her concerns. But being a child, I was not the most patient in the world. I say being a child, but I'm also really not patient in my current state. So I asked her every chance if she had read it yet. Mom, have you read it yet? Have you read it, Mom? Have you read it? I need to read it. Mom, Mom, Mom! Did you read it yet? And what I think ended up happening is that I think I drove her crazy with how much I was nagging her about it, to the point where she gave in and just let me read the book. I promise I was not a kid that always got their way. I was not a brat. I ended up reading the first book and it was everything. And so began my dedication to a series of unfortunate events. I used to play pretend, acting as if I was the 4th Baudelaire orphan, and that I had to help my siblings escape from Count Olaf. Was I too old to be playing pretend in the 4th grade? Probably, but I had a big imagination. In fact, I still do. I remember crying my eyes out when I found out that they were making an adaptation of the book. I was watching the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, and Jim Carrey had announced that he was playing Count Olaf, and I lost my mind. I saw the movie opening day, of course, and guys, the video game that they made from the movie is actually so fun. I low-key want to get my GameCube out and start playing it. I just have so many distinct memories surrounding that book series. It was a big part of my childhood, and I think it's because those books were like my ultimate go-to books for escapism. The last fandom that I'm going to be talking about today is Harry Potter. You knew it was coming. I had to talk about it. I was actually late to the game when it came to Harry Potter because I wasn't allowed to read it growing up, because hello, I grew up in the Midwest. But honestly, the fact that I wasn't allowed to read the books growing up made me want to read them even more. I remember having a sleepover with one of my friends and we watched the first movie and I was in complete awe with it. I also felt incredibly guilty watching it because I was like, I'm not supposed to be watching this, but I can't take my eyes off of it. Sorry, Mom and Dad. I obviously didn't feel that guilty though, because then I continued to sneakily watch the rest of the movies. I would sneakily watch them in my room when they had ABC Family Harry Potter marathons. Yes, I saw most of the movies before reading the books. Sue me. In fact, I saw up to movie 5 without reading any of the books. But I had to take what I could get, okay? I wasn't allowed to read the books, so I had to sneakily watch the movies. Finally, my sophomore year of high school, my aunt bought me the first book, and the rest is pretty much history. I marathoned the series, and I did so right before Deathly Hallows Part 1 came out in movie form, so I was able to experience going to a midnight screening for 2 Harry Potter movies, and by that time I was really getting my best friend Kathleen into the series, and we made a big hurrah with the final movie. We got all dressed up. I feel like we saw it 3 or 4 times in the theater. We had a Harry Potter party at some point. By that point, I had fully accepted my life as a fanboy. I listened to Wizard Rock. I had all sorts of like graphic tees that were related to Harry Potter. I still do. I got to go to the freaking wizarding world of Harry Potter with my best friend Kathleen. I was just living my best life as a fanboy. Out of all these fandoms, I'm still very much so involved in the Harry Potter fandom. It's hard not to be when a series like that is so impactful. I can't imagine my life without it. So those are some of the fandoms that I was a part of growing up, and the thing is, these fandoms were really just like fandoms of one, mostly in the fact that I never really connected with a community surrounding these fandoms, except for Harry Potter. But back in the day, I didn't really have communities for like Spy Kids, Neopets, Jump 5, a series of unfortunate events, which kind of makes me sad looking back on it. Like, I'm jealous of the people now who have like online communities surrounding their favorite things, but it also makes me super happy because now people can connect more easily with other people who enjoy the same things as them. Basically, the internet is the best. So that's it for this little video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Thanks again to Quirk Books for sponsoring this video. The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston is in stores now, so check it out if it sounds interesting to you. You guys should let me know down below in the comments all the fandoms that you were a part of growing up. Which one brings the most nostalgia to you? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright and that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye! Oh!